Welcome back. You're watching Newsnight and talking about the important cabinet decisions. We said we're going to focus on the decisions in the space sector. That is the issue in focus this evening. We're talking about historic reforms in the space sector. That's the issue in focus in Newsnight tonight. And joining me in the studio is a special guest, former Chairman ISRO, Dr. G. Madhavan Nair. Dr. Nair, thank you for joining us and welcome to this program. Now, an ambitious decision as this, opening up the space sector for private players, there are going to be both a lot of important positive takeaways and challenges. How do you view the decision, sir?
Well, certainly this is a very bold decision taken by the government of India and to open up the space sector for the private players. The aspirations are very high, right, and the private players are able to play a major role in realizing the space systems and providing services. Definitely, there will be a multiplier effect to the ISRO's initiative for R&D in this sector. Well, I think if you look at the global scenario, something like $200 billion is the current value of the space business. And hardly we are earning about 1 billion out of sales of satellite launch services or the remote sensing application and so on. So this is not adequate. If we want to really make a huge leapfrog, we have to really expand our commercial activity in the space sector. While saying so, there are several challenges ahead of us. The first and foremost is the most of the money lies in the space application sector related to communication, the remote sensing applications, and so on. So this, of course, right now there are certain government agencies doing and meeting the needs of various government departments and so on. So this has to really expand. We have to have a comprehensive space policy to be put in place.
What would that imply, sir? Having a space policy in what is the stage at which India is today as far as space policy is concerned? I mean, what kind of boost would that require?
Well, one thing, the space technology, whether it is the satellite or the launch vehicle, they are dual-use technologies. It can be used for military as well as the societal use. Now,
yes, please go on, sir. Please go on, sir. We can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
Okay. So the dual-use technology is something which is a guarded secret by most of the nations. Now, there is a security aspect involved, there's a safety involved, and the protection of IPR is involved, and so on.
Right.
So here, India has not evolved a comprehensive policy. But at the same time, yes, we are operating with the SATCOM policy, the satellite communication policy, as well as the remote sensing applications policy, which was evolved somewhere in 2000, which is about 20 years old. World has changed quite a lot. So, first of all, these policies at least has to be revised. When it comes to the development of rockets and launch system, we have to look at various aspects. The first of all, the national safety and security. The rocket technology, again, is protected by the government. And if it falls into a wrong hand through a private player, that is going to be disastrous. We have to worry about how we comply with the MTCR regime and so on. So all these points has to be addressed and a proper framework has to be put in place. Then certainly this new initiative can succeed.
Right.
So we have to start
as former ISRO chairman, we are also curious to understand how do we understand the role of ISRO going forward? The minister did mention that they will continue with the work that they're engaging right now, research and development of space missions. But how do you see the role of ISRO getting modified with this opening up of the sector to the private players?
Well, I think ISRO certainly is going to benefit more. But let me at the same time tell you that ISRO is one organization in the country who has tapped the industrial potential to the maximum extent.
Right.
About 60% of the budget of ISRO is spent through the industry. Not only that, without adding even a single manpower, over the 10 years, ISRO's programs are multiplied nearly tenfold. This increase has come only because of the more and more participation from the industry. But I see a concern in the sense, this space hardware, especially, requires huge investment and the returns are marginal. So the private players hesitate to invest in this area. So far, the model which has worked in the country is that government invests in the facilities and the private players become sort of operators, and that's the stage where we are. So if you want to enthuse some private industries to take on the total responsibility, there has to be certain support from the government in establishing the various facilities. In fact, I must tell you that ISRO facility is not controlling any of these activities, whereas the industrial capacity is what is short today here. Look at the country today, we do not have a meaningful aerospace industry in the country. Most of the places, it is buy and bolt type of technology which is being adopted. Some parts and subsystems design come from outside.
Also
we
import
carry out
dependent,
the
yes.
operation as an assembly line. The technical skills required in this area has to be focused. And not only that, industry should be able to invest on the R&D. So all these needs governmental support. And maybe in the form of a direct investment in the infrastructure. And the launch infrastructure is only a small fraction of what is needed for production and so on.
So you mentioned about the concerns of that the private sector may have, but if you also talk about the positive points that should get the private sector excited with the opening up of this sector, what would those be according to you?
Certainly, as I told you, the large volume of business dies in the space applications. So to start with, if the industries pitch in and try to capture the space market, it will be a great step forward. I can give a simple example. The recently launched SpaceX, what Elon Musk has developed, that offers about 10 tons to low Earth orbit. And it has, they're offering at a price of something like $11,000 per kg. Whereas our own ISRO's development of the Mark 3, GSLV Mark 3 vehicle, we can achieve something like $5,000 per kg. So if somebody is able to capture the international market in this area and accordingly plan the production setup in the country, that would be the first step one can imagine. Similarly, in the communication and Earth observation applications, even our country's need itself is enormous. Many of the communication services are really starving for the transponder capacity and so on. But at the same time, there are advanced satellites which are planned by ISRO, which is lying unutilized. That factor comes for various reasons. ISRO is not controlling the utilization of the satellites. It is the Department of Telecommunication and the Broadcasting Ministry which control all the regulations and licenses and so on. Even if ISRO allots a transponder to a private party, it takes anywhere from 6 months to 1 year before he can launch a service. Again, here we can, so far, nobody has come forward with the technology forecast in what will happen in the next 5 years or so in this field. But ISRO had taken the initiative of looking at these aspects, and that is how they have launched the advanced satellites into orbit, expecting things to grow. This is exactly what happened in the DTH operation. ISRO satellite, when it was conceived, nobody talked even about DTH in the country. But once a satellite is put up, the Tata Sky and CTV and all, they came forward. They fully utilized the capacity. And today, the direct home transmission is the most popular way of providing entertainment news. So the private initiative has to come in application of the space resources, then we can have a very good progress.
Absolutely, sir. Dr. G. Madhavan Nair, thanks very much for joining us in this discussion, telling us about policy and technological interventions that the government must consider in this ambitious step that has been taken forward. Thanks very much for joining us in the program. And taking the discussion forward, we're talking about historic reforms that have been announced in the space sector. Two special guests are joining us now in the discussion. Mr. Ajay Lele, space analyst with IDSA. Also joining us is Mr. A.K. Bhattacharya, editorial director, Business Standard. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us in the program. Mr. Lele, if I can begin with you, ISRO has established India as one of the leading spacefaring nations. How momentous do you see this decision is to open up the space sector for private players?
I think it is a very important decision on part of the government. In fact, if you really look at it, there were indications for quite some time now that government really wants to make it a big announcement as far as opening of the space sector is concerned. 1 or 2 years back, we have already established a new space agency, which is beyond Antriksh Corporation, which is looking after the commercial interests of ISRO. Just a month back, Finance Minister had identified 8 key areas of importance where major amount of investment under the Atmanirbhar Bharat is going to take place. So space was recognized as one of the important sectors over there. So over a period of time now, the government of India has taken a call that there are strategic sectors like space, atomic energy, to an extent even civil aviation or aviation at large, are very important sectors where there is a need to expand with a commercial activity too. So one has to look at it at a wider canvas where government of India is looking at exploiting the potential of the strategic sectors for the commercial purposes too. And this is one area where ISRO is going to give them a major boost, because as compared to other strategic industries, if I'm calling, say, a defense industry, or for that matter, even your industry which is looking at nuclear energy, I think ISRO is way ahead than other industries as far as their activities are concerned, and at the same time, as far as their global image is also concerned.
Right.
Already started attracting a lot amount of customers, and now with privatization, I think your private industry also will get a major boost and get advantage of ISRO's investments, which have been done over the years to specialize in the rocket science.
All right. Mr. Bhattacharya, if I can come to you, sir. I was just speaking to Dr. Madhavan Nair, former chairman of ISRO, and spoke about the vast untapped potential of space sector in India, of ISRO and enterprises. How do you see this decision? What should get the private sector excited about this cabinet decision?
Well, the first point that we need to recognize and understand is that this is not a step that is going to sap the energies of the public sector. I think the role of the public sector in space initiatives has not been undermined. On the contrary, it has been given a role of a trigger, of providing a trigger to more space initiatives by taking greater advantage of the private sector. So I think the new body that is being created will actually be used to invite and promote the role of the private sector in space activities. And more importantly, there are large numbers of uses of space technology in industrial activities, economic activities, and a host of other areas. Now, the idea is to use this new structure and invite the private sector to play a more constructive role in taking space technology to more newer areas of economic activities. So I don't see that the role of ISRO is getting diluted. On the contrary, the importance of ISRO is being recognized. Please remember that globally as well as in India, in high technology areas like space or science or atomic energy, it is the state that takes the initiative. And I think that the primary responsibility or the primary role of a state-led initiative in the space thing continues to remain intact. But what has changed now is that this space technology will be used for industrial activities and industrial applications by inviting private sector into this area. Now, there is a subtle change. The shift is that instead of space initiatives addressing the supply side issues, it will address the demand side issues. In a sense that private industry has a lot of demand for
Right.
use of space technologies in a variety of areas.
So we're talking
Now,
about the expansion of the market and the marketability of India's space services. That is set
Absolutely.
to expand. That potential is
Yes.
going to be harnessed.
Absolutely.
Right. Mr. Delhi, if I can come to you, sir. Now, we've been talking about, since these decisions were announced, how the cooperation between SpaceX and NASA took place, a private enterprise and NASA. So are we looking at similar engagements where private sector can collaborate in a greater manner with ISRO and the space sector?
I think you got a point over there. I will entirely agree with the previous speaker that the role of ISRO is not at all getting diminished over here.
Yeah, certainly. That's what the minister also reiterated. Yeah, please.
If you see the model of NASA as well as the SpaceX, there is so much amount of a dependence for the SpaceX or NASA, particularly as far as various testing facilities are concerned, because no private industry can create testing facilities on their own because it requires
Right.
huge amount of investment. So there is a significant amount of a dependence on on NASA by SpaceX. If you really look at SpaceX's recent program where they have sent 2 men to the International Space Station, this is again a NASA supported program. So when years to come, ISRO will have to do a hand-holding, and that's what today's announcement also makes a point.
Right.
That ISRO needs to do a hand-holding with the industry, because at the end of the day, what industry is going to play with is rocket science. And it takes years and decades of experience to expertise into that arena.
And that
And
in-space center, sir, becomes very critical as far as hand-holding, as you mentioned, is concerned of the private sector too.
Exactly. It definitely, you see, what is happening is that over a period of time, ISRO's dependence on private industry is as such very significant. But as Mr. Madhavan Nair was pointing out, this dependence is into smaller arenas. The big arenas where we are talking of developing the satellites, designing and building the satellites, the arenas where we want private industry to undertake satellite launchings also. There has been a program where ISRO wants to privatize the PSLV rocket engine also.
Right.
Because over a period of time, they have achieved a good amount of a command of launching satellites by using that rocket. So now they would like to develop a public-private partnership as far as this technology is concerned. Because at the end of the day, one must understand and appreciate that ISRO is a space research organization. Doing business is not their baby. As far as they are concerned, they are supposed to develop the technology, they are supposed to develop the science. And ISRO's hands are full on the science programs itself.
Right.
There is an issue of a strategic programs.
Right.
The private industry cannot participate into strategic programs. We have already established a defense space agency. Their requirements also going to come up. So at this point in time, I think ISRO will concentrate on to science as well as India's strategic program, and the private industry will look at the commercial aspects.
Right. Mr. Bhattacharya, this public-private partnership that we're looking at, are we looking at a possibility of higher investment now in this sector as it opens up for the private players to utilize the assets and data? Also, the technology utilization is going to be greater. What does this imply for a developing country like India? Investment and tech
You are
utilization.
right. You have asked a very important question. The way I see it unfolding is that ISRO and the new institution that is being created will essentially, launch new ideas and new projects,
Right.
wherein the private sector can take part, and the private sector will look at those projects, look at those areas, and that will be a kind of a trigger for widening that the marketability of those applications, those usages, those schemes. So it will be a public-private partnership with a different kind of it is not the usual public-private partnership. For example, the satellite program. Right now, there's a huge commercial scope that can be tapped in the satellite market globally. Right now, what is happening is that, in spite of the excellent work that has been done by ISRO since ISRO is not a commercial organization, Indian space initiatives are restricted in their potential for tapping this global market for satellite launches. So if the private sector can be lured into this area with the support of technology and initiatives and the guidance of ISRO and that new body that has been created, in my view, the private sector can probably play a catalyst role in promoting and pushing Indian presence in the satellite launches area. This is just an example. So there will be many other usages, and I'm actually more excited about the use of space technology in industrial applications.
Yes.
We think that the space technology is only about launching a satellite or sending a man on the moon. I don't think so. I think the space technology has a vast array of
and it
usages.
was mentioned from agriculture to smart cities. The application is extensive.
The use of private sector will come in a big way, and that may disseminate the use of this technology and spread the use of the technology in wider sectors of the economy.
Right. Mr. Lele, final thoughts on just the way this ambitious step opens up the space sector for the private players. It also is referring to a lot of challenges that Dr. Nair also pointed out. The absence of a comprehensive space policy, for instance. We're talking about sharing of assets and data. Some of them may be very confidential. Also, data related to mapping, for instance. How do we see these steps being important priority for the government as it sort of fine-tunes this policy ahead?
I think you've got to look at InSpace not as an organization which is going to do a entirely commercial activity.
Right.
It will be more in a supervisory role. It will be more in an advisory role. It will be more in a policy perspective. Because today, as Dr. Nair was pointing out, that we don't have a national space policy. And that is the need of the hour. Because if you see the entire document which has been published, they are saying that private industry can even participate into planetary missions. Now, commercially, if you're talking of a planetary mission, what are the commercial interests today? The commercial interests today are, I'm not talking of today or tomorrow, I'm talking of slightly of the near future. The commercial interests are going to the asteroids. Already countries like USA in the year 2015 have come out with the policies that what a private enterpriser can do if they reach to the asteroid and do certain amount of mining. Now people are looking at resources into various asteroids and other planets. And that's where you require a very comprehensive policy. And I think you're InSpace, basically the organization which has been born as of today, if I may say so, that organization will have to give the policy guidelines to the private sector also. At the same time, it has to do a handholding along with New Space Agency to involve private sector into various arenas, not only satellite launching, satellite development also, building ground infrastructure also.
Right. On that note, Mr. Lele, Mr. Bhattacharya, let me thank you both for joining us in this discussion, giving us more insights on this historic reform of opening up the space sector for private players. Thanks very much for joining us. Moving on, India is keeping its defenses up while engaging with China